Hi, Diva. It's Rachel.
And Jordan. Yeah, hi. Quick question.
Why are you not spending your Venmo balance?
Yeah, we're concerned.
You can, buy stuff with it.
Ugh, you love buying stuff.
And earn cash back on eligible purchases.
You love purchasing eligible things.
So the money your friend sent you yesterday, that's today's ramen or rideshare or eye patches.
The skincare kind, not the pyro kind.
Spend with Venmo, then you can earn cash back with Venmo Stash. Venmo Stash bundle terms and exclusions apply. Max $100 cash back per month. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms. ID verification required to use a Venmo balance.
Champions are not born. They're forged. This is about turning the ordinary into undisputed. Available now. Ade Oladipo, brought to you by Undisputed.
Evening peeps, good evening everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. All right, what next for Mr. Daniel Dubois? Usually when I do these what next videos, they're very easy because I simply list off a few names that in this case, Daniel Dubois can fight in the next 6 to 7 months. And it's easy because Daniel Dubois is a former IBF heavyweight world champion. Daniel Dubois is a big name. Daniel Dubois is a top 5 heavyweight. And there are a number of fights that make sense for Daniel Dubois, like fun fights, fights that get him back into position to fight for a world title. I normally also kind of give a bit of a breakdown of his fight. Daniel Dubois is getting critiqued quite a lot about his performance. Some deserved, some I think unwarranted. We'll get to that as well. So that was how I was going to start the video. But today I found out what I think is quite alarming news. You guys might think, Ade, you're exaggerating. We'll get to whether or not you think I am in a minute. Simon Jordan was on Talk Boxing with Spencer Oliver. I'm filming this, by the way, at 10 p.m. By the time you guys watch this, it will be old news. But Simon Jordan was on Talk Boxing with Spencer Oliver, Lawrence Okoli, and Joseph Parker. And he spoke about Daniel Dubois having a pre-fight party before the Usyk fight. So a pre-fight party or gathering before the biggest fight of his life. And you can see how stunned Lawrence Okoli and Joseph Parker are. And I'm happy that they're stunned, because if they're stunned as professional boxers, then I should be stunned as well, because it's clearly something they wouldn't do. And I thought this can't be true. It can't be. But Simon is saying it with so much conviction, I thought there must be a bit of truth in this. So I tweeted it. I said, I'm in disbelief about what I'm hearing regarding a pre-fight party. And then in the comment section below my tweet, people started putting up the video of said pre-fight party or pre-fight gathering. And I can't believe it. Something's gone wrong somewhere, because, and look, there are so many ways to get prepared for a sporting event. I'm telling you now, a pre-fight gathering isn't the way you get ready for the biggest sporting event of your life. It isn't. And I mean, I've been around so many different sports people, not just boxers. I've been around footballers. I've been around athletes. This just isn't something you do. I remember we were on the broadcast and it popped up on the screen, Oleksandr Usyk getting his hands wrapped. And I remember our producer was in our ear saying, Daniel Dubois is not even at the venue yet. I was like, what? This must have been around 8 p.m. And I was like, what do you mean he's not? He fights in 2 hours. How can he not be at the venue? Like, this makes no sense. Like, what is there been an accident on the street? I mean, has his car been blocked? Like, how could he not be at the venue? Now it makes sense, because he was at this pre-fight gathering, I guess, in his house. Guys, this is so bad. Honestly. And look, we don't know how Daniel Dubois responds. Maybe they feel like this is how he responds, or this is going to make him feel comfortable in the lead up to something that is going to be quite nerve-wracking. So maybe they felt like, okay, this is how we settle his nerves. No, you've got it wrong. That's simply not how you do it. Again, don't look at my reaction. Look at fighters' reactions. Lawrence Okoli, when hearing this information, was like, what? That can't be true. Joseph Parker, huh? It can't be true. You just can't do that. Some said, I think someone in the comment section was like, he did it before AJ, as though that makes it right. That's wrong as well. What, because he got the win, let's continue doing it? Let's continue having pre-fight gatherings? I can tell you now, and look, I don't know his dad. I have a a good relationship with his dad in the sense that when I see his dad, I greet him because that's just how I've been brought up. You see an elderly man, you greet them. But that's not Daniel Dubois wanting that pre-fight gathering. There's no way Daniel Dubois said, look, I want this pre-fight. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Come on, man. And then, okay, you do the pre-fight gathering, but then you get to the venue late, so your preparation's hindered? Like, I don't believe Don Charles would have been at that pre-fight gathering. So you're giving him less time to kind of get things together with Don Charles, again, in the lead up to the biggest fight of his life? That's a joke. Honestly, and look, by the way, even if there was no pre-fight gathering, he ain't beating Oleksandr Usyk, but that's not the point. It's not the point, is it? I mean, you guys have probably seen the video and we've only seen a 20-second snippet of it. Like, what are we doing? Like, come on, man. I understand if people want to come to the house and, want to wish him luck. Even that, I think's like not right. I understand if people want to come together and maybe pray. I think that's not right. Just get to the venue and just get your mind on the job. But maybe, again, look, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Maybe his team think this is the way to relax him. Maybe. But I just think it's wrong. And I don't think there is an athlete on planet Earth that would disagree with me. Like, top athletes. Like, what do you do in the lead up to the biggest football match of your life, or the biggest fight of your life, or the biggest NBA game or NFL game? Okay, we do a pre-fight party. Ain't happening. And people might say it wasn't a pre-fight party. It looked like it. I mean, there's music blaring, people around the house just chilling. What the fuck? What the fuck is going on? That whole team needs to be looked at. And I think this is really bad towards Don Charles, because Don Charles has got him in a position to become undisputed. And if you're Don, ask Don what he would like. Ask Don what, I can tell you what Don would like. Don would like, okay, we are there 3 to 4 hours or 3.5 hours prior to main event time, prior to ring walk, and we're starting to get into the fucking zone. So if music's blaring in the change room, so be it, but we're in the zone. We're in our own little bubble and we can be focused. We can be focused because it's not a focused team. It's not a focused team, and it's a shame. It's a shame. And even in the corner, like, again, I like Don a lot. And I almost feel like Don's been undermined a little bit by Daniel's dad just because he's so loud in that corner. It's very similar. And this isn't a dig at Daniel's dad. It's very similar to the digs that John Fury gets. Right, when everyone's like, oh, Sugar Hill's in the corner, Andy Lee, let them do their job. But because John Fury's very similar to Daniel Dubois' dad, because they're so big and sort of just loud, they kind of are overbearing in that corner. And I'm going to think, Don's the trainer, let Don train. Don's got him in his position, let Don do what Don does. Crazy. Honestly, crazy. As for... Sorry, it just surprised me when I saw it. I honestly, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It's just not right, people. It's not right. Again, you're top athlete. That's just not how it is. It's not how it is. But everyone operates differently. I remember Lennox Lewis used to get there hours before and used to almost get into a Zen mode. Remember that? Lennox Lewis used to put on his headphones and just go quiet and almost sleep just to get into that state of Zen mode. And that's what I see from most fighters. Again, everyone does it different, but I'm quite fortunate that I can go backstage and see. And some fighters, I mean, they're in there and it's Zen mode. Katie Taylor is in her room and she is praying, and everyone does it different. But one thing I'm telling you people don't do is a pre-fight party. You've never heard of it before because no one does it. Everyone does a post-fight party. And even those things are risky for me. When people plan post-fight parties, I'm like, how you plan the fight? How you plan the party before you fight? But a pre-fight party? Never heard of it in my life. And we only saw a 20-second snippet. And Simon Jordan, or see what Simon said? Again, take this with a pinch of salt. But Simon said that they all came to the venue, 30 or 40 people. And obviously 30 or 40 people didn't have tickets. And I think someone in that entourage said, Daniel's not coming in unless we all come in. What? This is about you now, not Daniel. What? Crazy. Honestly, crazy. And again, someone needs to look at it. But I guess no one can look at it. But Daniel was his own man now. Daniel's got to be his own man. He's 27. Sometimes you got to take it, like this is your career, this is your life. Sometimes you've got to take it upon yourself to say, okay, no more. This is how I want to do things. Yeah? Shit, man. I actually feel sorry for him. If this is all true, and information's coming to me, it's being drip fed to me, this is all true, I think this is a fucking disgrace. But it is what it is. That's just Ade Oladipo speaking. As for what next for Daniel Dubois, I mean, look, there are so many possible opponents. Like, there's no shame in your last 2 defeats being Oleksandr Usyk. If there's no shame in those defeats being for Fury, there should be no shame for Daniel Dubois or likewise AJ. But I guess the only problem for Daniel Dubois is that he's been stopped in both fights, unlike Fury, unlike AJ. So there will be some time to sit out and rethink and almost just have an inwardly look at yourself. But we know Daniel Dubois has rebuilt himself after losing to Usyk. Look, I mean, the last time he lost to Usyk, he went on a run that included Miller, Hrgovic and AJ. So he can do that again. He's more than capable. And he seems to take experience from defeats. So let's see how he takes it from here. There are a number of great names. I mean, Frank Warren has literally the list of heavyweights. There's all of them. I mean, Hrgovic versus Ade plays out August 16th. Maybe the winner of that fight. I mean, if it's Hrgovic, there's a rematch there. If it's Ade, it's a great fight, right? I mean, again, Fabio Wardley, who's coming off a life and death fight against Justice Hooney. That's a great fight. What about Justice Hooney? So many fights. Lawrence Okoli. Like, literally, there's so many names. AJ rematch. There are so many names. But before we get to those names, that setup needs to be sorted. It needs to be sorted and it needs to be managed. And I think they've got a great guy in Don Charles to do it, but fat needs to be trimmed. You know, the crazy thing is about Daniel Dubois, and I'll say this. I've covered quite a lot of Daniel Dubois fights, and I noticed this, by the way, and this isn't a Daniel Dubois critique. This is when a fighter gets big critique. The team seems to swell. I'm like again, I've covered, I don't know how many Daniel Dubois fights, but I've seen quite a lot of them. And you've noticed the team just goes bigger and bigger. And I'm like, who are these people? Big. I'm like, are they all needed? Sometimes you need to trim the fat. AJ was like that, but AJ is a walking money machine. And even AJ, I think, started to trim the fat. You don't need that many people. Honestly, you don't need that many people at all. Like Lawrence Okoli, and again, maybe different to Daniel Dubois, right? Lawrence has not been in fights as big as Daniel Dubois has. Lawrence is only around 3 or 4 people. Why do you need 15 people? Why do you need that many? So yeah, look, I say all this because I actually like Daniel. I've interviewed him a few times. I think he's a great guy. As for Daniel's performance, look, it was Oleksandr Usyk, man. So as much as I want to critique it, the only thing I can critique is him bouncing up when the ref said, okay, fight's over. And I'm like, ooh, how have you just got up that quick? And look, ultimately, he knows whether or not there's anything left, right? We can only second guess if the engines run, if the well has run dry. We can only second guess that. He knows that. But I just didn't like the way he bounced up and then just walked over to the corner. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, was there more in the tank? Look, don't get me wrong. If he bounced up at 7, I think he would have been put down a minute later. But there is a part of me that wants to see him sort of not swing to the death, but there's a part of me that if there is something left in you, understand what was at stake here, people. Undisputed. The undisputed titles were at stake. I mean, if there's something left in you, fucking fight. Do you know? Go for it. I mean, he has a sledgehammer of a right hand. He has a forehammer of a jab. Just go out. I feel like I'm going to contradict myself here because I've said this going out in your shield thing doesn't make sense, but maybe just have a bit more of a go. But again, it's Oleksandr Usyk, and Daniel and his team would know the best. We can only second guess from people that are not privy to see the sparring, are not privy to speak to him on a daily basis, and not privy to be Daniel Dubois. So yeah. So I will probably do a proper what next video, but this just annoyed me so much. It annoyed me so much. And I'm deeply concerned for Daniel Dubois if he's having a pre-fight party before the biggest fight of his life. Just my thoughts. All right, let's It's a bit late, but let's see if we can quickly see what else there is to talk about. I love this. WBO hope to match David Morrell and Callum Smith for interim light heavyweight title. I said on the broadcast with Mannix and Sergio Mora that David Morrell is the kind of fighter that just needs a gimme fight right now. And I don't normally advocate for that, but I'm like, this guy clearly went life and death with David Benavidez. He just went life and death with Katayev. He will go life and death with Callum Smith. I don't want to see him go life and death again yet. I almost want to see him have someone he can just bowl over. Someone that can give him a few rounds, but he can just kind of, grow into the weight. He's fighting guys that, look, I don't even think Morrell's a light heavyweight personally. And he's going to be fighting a fully fledged light heavyweight now in Callum Smith. That's a tough fight for Morrell, considering what I've just seen. I like Morrell a lot. I don't want Morrell to be finished before he gets going. I think that's what I'm getting at. So let's see. Former undisputed champion Josh Taylor forced to retire with eye injury. Yeah, I found this out today. I watched an interview with Josh Taylor and Talk Boxing. And he spoke about just having to have several eye surgeries on the same eye and just not wanting to do it again. And he's right. Why should he? Like, he's conquered the world. He's been to the top of the mountain. He was undisputed champion. Like, undisputed. And not like he fought one guy who had all 4 belts and then he became... No. He picked those belts up one by one. And then he fought Ramirez and got everything away from home. All right, really good performance. But ultimately, it's just not there anymore. Regardless of the eye injury, I just don't think it's there. We saw that with Eko Usman, and Eko Usman's tough, right? Tough as old boots, but it just wasn't there. So I think he's made the right decision, and I hope that he gets the praise that he deserves, because he's been fantastic. He was pound for pound the best fighter in Britain for a couple of years, and he was, I think, a top 6, top 7 pound for pound fighter in the world. You can't get much more praise than that. So yeah, we'll see. All right, guys, girls, an angry video from me, but a video nonetheless. I will see you guys on the next one.
Champions are not born. They're forged. This is about turning the ordinary into undisputed. Available now. Ade Oladipo, brought to you by Undisputed.